Welcome back to Grade 8 Geography, Unit Number 1, Global Settlement, Patterns and Sustainability. This is Lesson Number 11. What are the challenges for sustainability? Here are a couple of discussion questions to kick off today's lesson. 1. Is it easy for all communities to become sustainable? That means, is it easy for all communities to become able to use their resources at a slower pace so that they don't run out of all of their resources in a short time? And number 2, what things make it challenging for a community to become sustainable? Put the video on pause here. Just jot down your ideas because we will talk about these questions in our next class. Making communities sustainable takes time and effort. The approach that people take towards sustainable living also depends on their living conditions. That is, in some parts of the world, people's basic needs are not met. These needs include clean water, food, shelter, education, electricity, and health care. Before people can start thinking about living sustainably, their governments first need to meet the people's basic needs. As rural populations decrease, sustainable living may be less possible. Even though there are fewer people, there are less people who provide the basic needs mentioned before. However, with proper rural planning, communities can manage their resources sustainably. Rural farmers can help people maintain their roads so that people can travel to work and to meet each other. Planners can also make sure that road repairs and extensions do not harm animals' habitats. We can actually see that going on in this diagram here. Clearly, this road looks like it has been repaired or extended or modified recently, and we can see that there's still some natural vegetation around. As we learned before, many rural migrants come to cities but end up living in slums. There are different reasons for this. Most of the time, the cost of housing is far too expensive. Slums are overcrowded and lack clean water, electricity, and sanitation. These conditions are harmful both to people and to the environment. People living in slums tend to lack the chance to get an education, meaning their chances of getting a job are low. These environmental, social, and economic issues make it very difficult to promote sustainable living in slums. So just imagine growing up in a slum like this one. I would imagine that the people living in this slum, they probably aren't thinking about the best ways to make sure that all of the oil under the ground is used wisely. Their concern first is having a roof over their heads, better yet, trying to find a way to get to a better living space. There are, however, signs of hope that slum living can become more sustainable in the future. In 2012, a South African project called the iShack, in relation to the iPhone, carried a goal of making a sustainable shack. For $675, a person can build a shack made from recycled materials. The roof of the shack has a solar panel which can be used to power 3 lights. The shack has a built-in phone charger as well as an outdoor light fixture. The roof is sloped so that it can collect clean rainwater. So this means the ice shack is safe and clean. You can actually go onto Google image search at home and look up examples of people living in ice shacks, and they're actually quite clean inside. They're not palaces. They don't have room to store many valuables, but it's clean. It's safe for them to live in. and it's making use of solar power. In some countries, the government is trying to remove slums completely. The Moroccan government is working towards replacing slums with affordable houses that provide healthier living conditions and create less environmental damage. The main challenge that the Moroccan government faces is providing all of these services needed for the new homes. With the world's population increasing steadily, settlements are creating a greater demand for resources which are extracted from the earth. Careful planning is needed to minimize the damage caused by extracting more resources. One major issue is deforestation. Forests are being destroyed as cities are expanded and as new farmland is being created to provide food for growing cities. In many countries, new farmland is created by burning forests or clear cutting. This not only destroys natural habitats, it also contributes to climate change. Almost half of the greenhouse gases created in the southwestern hemisphere in 1 year alone were the result of agriculture and deforestation. Many settlements still depend on fossil fuels for heat and energy. Burning fossil fuels is not sustainable as they cannot be replaced once they're all used up. Fossil fuels also cause pollution and contribute to global warming. And of course, burning fossil fuels release toxic chemicals that threaten human health. Investment in cleaner, renewable resource use is an important goal for a number of countries. Unfortunately, not all countries can afford to invest in renewable resources, and a number of countries depend on selling coal, oil, and gas to make money. Just look at the workers here. Their livelihoods are based on this rather dirty job, but if you take coal, oil, or gas production away from them, all of a sudden you've got people who are out of work and can't support their families. A potential new source of clean energy is geothermal energy. Geothermal energy is thermal, heat energy that comes straight from the earth. It is renewable and it can provide heat for electricity production. Below Earth's surface, there are sources of naturally occurring steam and hot groundwater. Geothermal energy can heat homes, offices, and greenhouses. Geothermal energy can be used to keep roads and sidewalks so warm that snow and ice will melt cleanly. In Iceland, many buildings are now being heated by geothermal energy, which is generated by Iceland's many hot springs. Some cities are working to improve public transit. More money is being invested in expanding public transit and encouraging more citizens to take transit instead of drive. Lower fares, Lowering fares, rather, and providing GPS tracking for transit vehicles are two ways in which governments are making public transit more appealing to growing populations. Let's see the TTC get on board with this. Okay, so to wrap up today's lesson, two more questions for you to consider. Number one, what is a sustainability issue that our community faces? Meaning, is there an excuse for our community not practicing sustainability in terms of protecting our resources? Number two, how might we solve that issue of sustainability? Certainly a couple of questions you might want to talk with your parents about, because I know these are not easy questions. It's also probably a good idea for you to go back and watch this video at least another 1 or 2 times, just to help you feel a little more comfortable about answering these questions. So make sure that you do pause the video to write down your ideas, because we will talk about this in our next class. But until our next class, this concludes today's video.